I'm convinced. I am convinced that people in the college football world are scared of what Deion Sanders is doing and what he could potentially become. Let's talk about it. I'm going to dive into it. This got me going today. Let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What's good people? What is good, my people? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsyJr. YouTube and Facebook. The Facebook is Jeff Lightsy Sports. Hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. Okay. So there's been a few tweets that come out over the last couple of days that's got me convinced that the college football world at large is totally afraid of Deion Sanders and what he is doing and what he could potentially become, right? So, okay, this started, and I know I took a poll on my YouTube channel. The YouTube is Jeff Lightsy Jr. And I took a poll and I said, do you guys want me to discuss? Let me go ahead and just show the poll. I said, do you guys want me to discuss? And the poll is still up. You can vote. And I know I gave you the choice. And so this is why this is not a live call-in show. It's just me rambling. I said, do you guys want me to discuss the tweet that Brett McMurphy put out about Deion Sanders and the concern that is being made by college football? And I said, do you guys want me to address the Prime Prep tweet by Brett McMurphy together tonight? Live call-in. And y'all said, no, we good. And it's still voting. It's only 89 votes. But that was enough to say, okay, bet. I won't make it a live call-in. But that doesn't mean I can't talk about it, because I have to talk about it. Because there may or may not be some people that understand what that means and what I'm talking about when I say that, right? So let me go ahead and show you the tweet. Let's just show the evidence, case study, the evidence. And it says, that was my tweet. And it says, one potential, this was put out by Brett McMurphy. He used to work for ESPN. Now he's on Action Network and he's well respected. He does a lot of college football stuff. It says, one potential obstacle for Deion Sanders being hired at the FBS level, sources told Action Network, is the multiple academic and financial issues that surrounded Sanders' failed, quote, Prime Prep Academy. It is in the front of every president's mind. Now, what that tells me is, so you guys hold Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, to a different standard than you hold other college football coaches. So for those who don't know, the Prime Prep stuff, right? And then there's this article came out, and this negative press about Deion Sanders being a football coach and the Prime Prep stuff, it's been out there for years, right? So let me show you this. Like, this was written by, they have the black woman to write it, Candace Buckner, back in December of 2020. December 2020. Prime got hired in September by Jackson State, and this was written a couple months later like that. So they've been on this train. Deion Sanders is inspiring hope at Jackson State, but what happened at Prime Prep? So they've been playing this Prime Prep game for a long time, right? And she wrote, I read this whole thing, by the way, but she wrote this, very detailed piece, but it had a lot of garbage. And if you don't know anything about sports, it had a lot of garbage in it, and I'll explain. Okay, so for those who don't know anything about Prime Prep was a high school in the Dallas and the Texas area that had the Deion Sanders name attached to it. Essentially what happened was Coach Prime, now known as Coach Prime, and then he was Coach Prime, but Deion Sanders wanted to start a high school to have a dominant. He wanted to start his version of IMG Academy. Let's just call it what it is. What's now known as IMG Academy are some of these powerhouse football powers. He wanted to start his version in Texas called Prime Prep. And so he lent his name, and he was building the football side of things while he allowed other folks to build the school and the academia side of things, just like what's taking place at Jackson State. Coach Prime runs the football team, and then the president and administrators of Jackson State run the school, right? So that's what he wanted to do with Prime Prep. Well, when he was running the football team, getting players from across the country, just like IMG Academy, getting players that are really good, highly ranked, maybe at bad schools, recruiting, whatever, just like all these other big-time prep schools. IMG Academy is a football version. Montverde is a basketball version. Oak Hill Academy is a basketball version. I can continue Trinity High School in freaking Louisville, Kentucky, St. X High School in Louisville, Kentucky. Like, I'm just giving you versions of that, right? So he was creating his version of that. Well, the folks on the academia side didn't do their part. They finessed them. His name, but since he was Deion Sanders, his name was attached to the Prime Prep. It's literally called Prime Prep because his name was Prime Time. But he was handling football stuff, and he did damn good on football stuff. He got guys scholarships. He had some really good players, guys that were getting rated, all kinds of stuff. They were doing their thing on the football field. The academia part, they didn't hold up their end of the bargain, and that's why the school collapsed after 2 years. Now, if you didn't know anything by Brett McMurphy's tweet, let me show it one more time. You would think the Prime Prep disaster happened yesterday, right? Like, you would think the Prime Prep disaster happened 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. The stuff happened a decade ago. Prime Prep was opened in 2012. It was closed by 2014. We are now in the year of our Lord, 2022. So we're talking about a minimum 8 years ago. And all of a sudden, FBS coaches, FBS presidents, it's at the front of their mind that Deion Sanders can't run an organization, can't run a college football program, not academic, not the university. He can't run a football program. But I heard Shannon Sharp on Undisputed talk about how Bobby Petrino was sleeping with his assistants, a woman on his staff. And he got multiple chances to lead programs. Was that on the front of Louisville's mind, or that on the front of Western Kentucky's mind, or that on the front of, those other programs? Missouri State is where he's currently at. Hugh Freeze was making calls to escort services that was found out by the university. Was that on the front of Liberty's mind? Or was that on the front of these other? Lane Kiffin has been at several stops, flamed out a lot of stops. Was that at the front of their mind when they were? Hell, the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans just got a DUI. I'm just putting out there. Was that at the front of these organizations' mind? So all of a sudden, an academia prep disaster, let's just call it what it was. It was a disaster. But Prime's football part, they did their part. He wanted to change lives the same way he's currently doing at Jackson State. He wanted to do it 10 years ago. He's been doing it for a long time, but he wanted to do it 12 years ago at Prime Prep. And it failed. Okay, it failed. And he's moved on, just like all of those other guys have moved on. And it's at the front, not at the back of their mind. It's at the front of their mind. What does that say? What does that look like to y'all? I mean, I just want to know what it looks like to y'all. Leave in the chat, leave in the comments. What does that look? I mean, it looks like some people are scared, or trying to scare folks off, or trying to pretend as if Deion Sanders is this mastermind villain with Prime Prep. Oh, he's screwed. And then even in this Washington Post article, it tried to paint him out as some kind of villain. This article by Candace Buckner, and of course they had the black lady write it, and I don't know Candace Buckner. I wish her the best. But if you read this article, it talks about Prime Prep was recruiting players. And it was so illegal. Well, every private high school in the country recruits players. So what? Nobody going to investigate IMG Academy saying that's against their rules, recruiting players out of their district, from out of the country. People literally move from different states, from California, to go play in Florida at IMG Academy. I've had people in my home state of Kentucky move from Kentucky to go play at IMG Academy, move from Ohio, Tennessee, California, Florida, from different cities, hours from the state of Florida, Texas, to go play at IMG Academy. Nobody bats an eye. And in her article, they did it to play at Prime Prep. It's so illegal. Give me a break. Okay. I know y'all said y'all didn't want to talk about it on a live call-in. I'm sorry, I had to get that off because that it pissed me off. And the biggest thing that they'll take, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. Allegedly, in the article, as I told you, I read the whole thing. Allegedly in the article.
I don't know that one.
I said allegedly, not Alexa. Sorry. Allegedly in the article, that make sure it didn't go off again, that they said that a physical altercation took place between Deion Sanders and the the person running the school, the CFO of the almost at the university, the CFO of the high school, of the preparatory of Prime Prep, and allegedly the CEO, not you.
Colorado is a state.
Alexa, stop. Yeah, not you. Chill out. Yeah. They said that I can't even say the word anymore. That let me go ahead. Allegedly that Prime choked him. That's what this article claims. That's what the man claimed. Allegedly that Prime actually physically assaulted him. Now nothing ever came from that, and that's why I keep saying allegedly. Sure, my Alexa don't go off. And so I would be remiss if I left it out. They said that altercation took place, and it is what it is. There's no proof of that happening. There's no video. You know, if there was a video, and here's the thing: if Deion Sanders really choked the man out, even in 2014, there were iPhone was out in 2014. There would be a video of that somewhere. Now, that's neither here nor there. Now, so there was that. And that just had my blood boiling looking at that, because that was just ridiculous. That was pretty absurd, pretty wild to see that tweet put out by Brett McMurphy. I mean, it was so wild that I had to respond with this. I was like, yo, man, if this is y'all best effort of keeping him from coming, and this is why I said they're scared. I said this would be a pretty goofy reason not to hire him. But if this keeps him at JSU, I'm all for it, because I am. Because that almost seems like a scare tactic. Brett McMurphy, there's only one or two ways that he's putting this out here. One, if he's really hearing that from FBS presidents. If he's really hearing that from FBS presidents, that'd be one reason to put that out there. That'd be a very stupid, dumb reason, and we can dive into why they might be putting this garbage information out there. Or two, somebody's paying him to put that out there. And I believe it's the latter, meaning either Action Network, some college program. Action Network is in bed with one of these college football programs or one of these conferences or something. Someone is paying Brett McMurphy to put this information out there. It's either one or two things. If either he's really hearing that, and if he's really hearing that, it almost seems racist, all right? Like it almost, if it quacks like a duck, swims like a duck, it ain't a damn dog. Or two, somebody is paying him to put this information out here. And when you see a ratio like that with all them quote tweets, it's typically people bashing them, especially on a ridiculous statement, something like this, something that occurred almost a decade ago, or at least 8 years ago. Ridiculous, man. And that gets me into my point. And I know it's been a long rant, but it gets me into my point of folks at the FBS level are scared of Deion Sanders. We kind of got a glimpse of it, right? We kind of got a glimpse of it last year when he recruited and landed Travis Hunter, right? It's one thing to land Travis Hunter. Like, whoa, Travis Hunter, the number one player in the country, chose Jackson State over Florida State. Whoa, Travis Hunter, the number one player in the country, chose an HBCU over every Power 5 offer in the country. This wasn't the 100th ranked recruit. This wasn't the 50th ranked recruit. Hell, it wasn't even the 25th ranked recruit. This was the number one player in the country. And the thing is, when you're the number one player in the country and you're like a defensive lineman, it's like, dang, like, whoa, okay, you're a defensive lineman. Like, dang. If you're the number one player in the country and you score touchdowns, yes, it's different. It's just different. Meaning if you're a quarterback, a running back, or it just anyone that scores touchdowns. And Travis scored a lot of touchdowns and continues, as you see in his college career, to score touchdowns. So we saw the rumblings, the rumblings of hate and people simmer over me, the Florida State folks, because he stole him from Florida State. They was real salty, right? Like, so we saw that and we heard that and yada, yada, we got that. But then they went on and they lost. After they landed Travis, they lost to South Carolina State. And so they kind of put a little damper. It put a little damper in the public sphere. Now, I know JSU fans just say, it didn't put no damper on us. It put a little damper in the public sphere, right, on Deion Sanders in Jackson State. Because when he first landed Travis, when Travis signed, it was like, yo, will more top recruits just open the floodgates and go to black colleges? Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Black recruits will, damn it, go play for black coaches at black colleges in urban areas in this country. Oh my God. And not go to our precious, deeply racist rooted Southern schools, right? Like Alabama and LSU, you know what I mean? Like Ole Miss, right? So it had them kind of a little shaky. Then they lost to South Carolina State, and people are like, ha, Travis is going to go play for the black school, and Deion Sanders, they can't even beat the other black schools, right? So, okay, it's like, okay, you have your fun in the sun, right? Travis goes crazy in the spring game, and the chatter started again. It's like a cycle, right? If you guys haven't noticed, it's a cycle. Travis goes crazy in the spring game, scores like 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions and a big touchdown pass or whatever. He went berserk. He didn't even play the second half of the spring game, and then the chatter started again. Oh, my God. Travis Hunter's at the black school, and he's doing great, and he's having fun, and he's ingratiated with his people and doing all kinds of stuff. No, there's not enough competition down there. Of course, he's going to go out there and embarrass those players because they aren't any good, and there's not blah, blah, blah. And you heard that, right? And then it simmered down because Travis played that first game, don't get a whole bunch of action because they don't play him on offense because he's hurt. And then Travis misses the next 5 games. He missed 5 games in a row. So you didn't hear any of it. Right? You didn't, but whole time while Travis was out, JSU was winning. Last year they had a couple losses by now, or they had 1 loss by now. After 11 games, JSU had a loss. JSU's undefeated. And then in the last 2 weeks, so JSU, you combine the fact that Jackson State's undefeated, and in the last 2 weeks, what have we seen from Travis? Travis has scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, caught 2 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. Last 3 weeks or whatever. 2 picks, 3 touchdowns, Jerry Rice Award finalist, Jackson State's undefeated. Now those rumblings are happening again. Oh, FBS schools will be scared of Prime because of Prime Prep. But you know what also they're scared of? And then this tweet came out today. So the Brett McMurphy tweet came out a few days ago. This tweet came out today. And this confirms folks are scared because with Prime. No, first, let me show you Prime's tweet. Let me show you Prime's tweet. Prime put out this tweet. So social media is a beautiful thing. It allows you to see things play out in real time. So Prime put out this tweet. This one right here. He said, I have a feeling. He's been on this. He said, you know where to find me stuff. I have a feeling. It's some 4 and 5 stars looking for the right feeling, the right spot with the right coach. I am he. I ain't hard to find. That came from Coach Prime. And as you see, 1,700 likes later, over 200 retweets later, folks are shivering in their boots. Folks are shivering in their boots. So much so, now On3, it's a flawed recruiting service platform, whatever. It's flawed. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's flawed. And they're still growing. They're new, so they're growing. And they're looking for stories. And they're looking for stuff to pick up on. And one person who's always going to get you clicks, he's always going to get your likes, he's always going to get your retweets, he's always going to get your quote tweets, he's always going to get your views to your website. It's Deion Sanders. That's just the way the game is played. That's just the truth. Trust me, nobody knows more than me. And look at what they did. This lets me know college football, they're scared. After flipping the number 1 overall recruit, Travis Hunter, last year on National Signing Day, Coach Prime is looking to pull off another recruiting shocker. And what do you know? They used his exact tweet. Now, when you go to the article, just click on the article. Let's just check it out. It says Jackson State Coach Prime looking for another National Day shocker. And don't forget, National Signing Day is less than a month away. We just got a few more days left, or just a few more weeks left. After Thanksgiving, recruiting for college football really ramps up. You got the portal opening up December 5th, and you got National Signing Day a couple of weeks later, December 21st, something like that. Right at the beginning, late December. And it says, when Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders flipped number 1 recruit Travis Hunter from Florida State HBCU Jackson State during last year's early signing period, it was undoubtedly the biggest recruiting surprise in the past few decades, at least. And Coach Prime is looking to repeat the performance this year. On Wednesday, he tweeted as much. I have a funny feeling, put out the tweet. In addition to Hunter, the Tigers signed 4-star wide receiver Kevin Coleman. who chose Jackson State over USC, Oregon, Miami, etc. Coleman, Hunter, along with Deion Sanders, have led the Tigers to 11-0 record this season. They'll play for the SWAC championship game on December 3rd. Before they head to a berth in the celebration. I mean, they already predicting they're going to celebration bowl December 17th. Hey, shout out to On 3. They know what's up. At least they think they know what's up. Southern, Prairie View. I might have something else to say about that, but it's neither here nor there. But that right there lets you know, folks, not only are folks paying attention to what's happening in Jackson State, folks are actually scared about what's happening at Jackson State. Folks are actually scared about what Deion Sanders is not just doing at Jackson State, but what Deion Sanders is doing in college football. Because if you weren't scared about what he was doing, why would you throw smut on his name talking about that prime prep stuff? Like anybody, like come on, let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. Deion Sanders is not the president of Jackson State for a reason. He's not the president. He's not the dean of, he's not the dean of Arts and Letters College. He's not the dean of a college. He's not the president of the university. He's the football coach. He's not even the athletic director. He's the football coach because he knows football. Now, he knows good business. I'm sure he could run a business class or two if he wasn't so busy running a football program. And in running that football program, he's done a damn good job. In the last 2 years, they got 22 wins so far and counting. 22 wins and counting. They went 11-2 last year. They're 11-0 so far this year with 2 more games potentially to go. He's a damn good football coach. He's recruited out of his mind. He's a damn good salesman. He's gotten corporate sponsors, not just for Jackson State, but for the entire SWAC. He knows how to market. He's a marketing genius. We've covered that a number of times on this platform. But you know what they didn't hire him to be? The leader of the college. He's not a college president. Just like he wasn't a high school principal. Just like he wasn't Prime Prep's president. It was named Prime Prep because he lent his name to give it some cachet. Because he was building what? A football program. He was trying to help grow young men and young women. But he was doing it through sport. It was other folks' job. He did his job too. Folks landed scholarships out of Prime Prep. They won't tell you that. Folks had success at Prime Prep. They won't tell you that. He held up his end of the bargain. And then when Prime Prep failed, they went over to Trinity Christian and did what he wanted to do, but he was only a football coach. And so now Jackson State's got the right administration running the show at the university level, and Coach Prime takes care of the football team. He lends support everywhere. Support to the university presidents. Obviously, he loves AD Ashley Robinson, women's basketball team, men's basketball team, soccer teams, all kinds of stuff. They use their facilities. But at the end of the day, he's the leader of men, the football team, not the leader of the university. Just because the thing bore his name, he wasn't the leader of Prime Prep. He took over as the football coach. But you throw smut on his name when you find that he's a threat. When the hate don't work, what French Montana said it a long time ago. When the hate don't work, they start telling lies. That tweet from Brett McMurphy, it's just clear smut, trying to smut the man's name, drag it through the mud. When the hate don't work, they start telling lies. It's not a good look. And it shows the fearfulness that Deion Sanders is bringing by upsetting the apple cart and changing things and on a college football level, doing it all at little old Jackson State, a place he ain't supposed to be doing it. And like I said, they landed Travis and it was a big uproar, but then it quieted down because they lost. You know what I'm saying? They lost and they lost kind of bad. They kind of got, and people laughed, people made tweets, people did all that. You know what I'm saying? And they came back this year and Travis didn't play, so nobody saw him. I seen a tweet the other day. Somebody tried to put up Travis's stats before the Alcorn game. And obviously, you don't have he don't have a whole lot of stats. One, he's a corner. He's a cornerback. They don't get a whole lot of action at cornerbacks. And two, especially when you're the best cornerback, and they don't throw you away. And two, he missed 5 games. Of course, he don't have no stats. He missed 5 games, and they weren't playing him on offense because he was still healing from an injury. But then over the Texas Southern game, and then the Alcorn game came, stats started to look real nice. They look real nice, even after missing 5 games. When you get become a finalist, and he's not going to win the Jerry Rice Award, I don't think. But when you become a finalist for a national FCS, not a national HBCU award, just because it's named after Jerry Rice, this is a national award in the FCS. He's probably not going to win. He missed 5 games. But when you become a finalist for an FCS national award and you missed 5 games, it's pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? I would say. Wouldn't you say? When the hate don't work, start telling lies and start dragging mud through his name. On3 knows what's up. Something, if I had to guess, something is cooking. And I can't wait to the early signing day. Let's see who ends up putting on that J hat. Shout out to the J hat, the Twitter account. Because I think we could be in for a big surprise come early signing day. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on Jeff Lightsy Jr. YouTube. For the Facebook fam, it's Jeff Lightsy Sports. Also, you can come over to Jeff Lightsy YouTube, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Peace.